Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's your girl, Sade. Hey, bitches.
It's your girl, Chelsea Pinky.
I didn't know we were singing and I'm not prepared. It's Glynn. Oh, I kind of sang.
That was melodic.
Welcome back to another episode of Black Girls Texting. It's me, Sade. Chelsea's having a little headphone drama, but she's here.
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's Chelsea Pinky.
You're repping my set today.
Oh, I was trying to cover it.
If you all are watching or are awaiting the voice of Bed-Stuy brat Glenn Pogue, she ain't coming. So she's a busy gal. She's got a lot going on with work. So Chelsea and I are holding down the fort, but we have a really dope guest coming on. So I think you guys will be pretty pleased. And
Yes.
yeah, with that, we should just jump on in, shall we?
Yeah. Into read or reply.
All right. Do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I think I'll start with my reply. I'm going to reply to, if you don't know this, I've been staying in Mexico, kind of bopping around for a while. I'm currently in Mexico City. And I have just been doing some amazing shopping, but like really cool local people. Like I'm not just like going to the mall. Like there's some really dope designers and artists out here. I've had my eye on some cowboy boots for the longest. Like I've wanted them for so long. And I hopped into like a friend's gallery and his wife like owns a store in the gallery. And what do I see?
Cowboy boots. Oh, wait. Do you have them?
I do, but I have to like get up and go get them. They're white. They're so cute. They're like real leather. They're incredible. I probably would have paid an arm and a leg, especially since I've been looking at like Isabel Marant cowboy boots, which is unnecessary. So really hype about that. It was like gallery week here. So like we were popping into different things, but also went to this showroom that kind of has like different local Mexican designers. And I got this amazing corset, which honestly, I need to lose breasts for, but you know, that's on the horizon. And
Well, they might not know, actually. Do they know?
oh yeah, I really am trying to get a breast reduction, y'all. I like to say I'm getting my titties done because I think that sounds sexier than a breast reduction. But yeah, I had the consultation, all that fun stuff. Now for the money. I need to make sure my insurance is going to cover it and all that fun stuff, but it's time. Like I can't walk around with these any longer. They got to go. So if anyone wants to sponsor me, just in case that insurance doesn't kick in for a while, feel free to cash at me. Thank you. My read, first and foremost, I want to say to anyone who lost a loved one, to the folks who passed at the Astroworld concert, we're definitely praying for all those people because there were some very young people who died and either were injured. It just seems like my worst nightmare and super, super scary. So I wanted to preface with that, but my read is kind of like a lot of the conspiracy theories that I've been seeing that have come out of that incident. Like I've seen so many people being like, well, Travis did a blood sacrifice for the Illuminati, and that's why those people died. And it's like, okay, whatever you want to believe, fine, sure. Like you want to believe that the Illuminati is involved in this incident, like keep that to yourself. Cause I just think it's really kind of inconsiderate when like people lost like loved ones. Like I want to say a 10-year-old died.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
terrible.
And then for people to be like, well, yes, because this was all part of the, like, come on. Like, it just feels really insensitive. And like, if you were there or you lost someone that you love, to see people try to like, I almost feels like they're making a mockery of it in a sense to me.
Well, have you seen the people that were there that said that?
people who were there are saying that it was a Illuminati sacrifice.
Yeah, there's like a few like TikTok videos of, obviously I wasn't there, so I'm not
I can't
saying
believe these
anything
words are coming out of our
happened,
mouths.
/ I'm not saying that it couldn't have happened. I don't know. This world is crazy. I don't know. But people who were there, they were like, no, it literally all of a sudden just turned into like a hell. And it felt like there was like darkness and like
Mhm.
something spiritual was happening. And then
Mhm.
apparently it was like the new moon of Scorpio. It all sounds very conspiracy theory. And I do agree with you that like all this stuff is very insensitive in terms of like, let's get the facts, let's try to
Right.
see what actually happened. But yeah, there are people that were there that are saying like it just was not normal. Like some girl was like, I'm trying to remember exactly what she said, but she was like, it was fun. And then all of a sudden, like people were just dropping. She was
Oh my
like, no
God.
one could breathe. Like it was just like all of a sudden. And like Travis kept performing and it felt like they were like all of a sudden in hell.
That's so scary. That
Terrifying.
I have heard from people attending. I haven't seen anyone like attribute it to some type of like sacrifice of Travis Scott to ascend to the, I don't even know what the fuck it is, the highest level of Illuminati. But I don't know. Yeah, I just think it's a bit much. But
Yeah.
again, I really am like praying for those people because it's so crazy. Like you go thinking you're going to a concert and you're going to have fun, and then like something like crazy like that happens. And it's not one of those instances where like, you know, not that this is okay either, but like a shooting or someone attacks someone, you know, like one of those things that you would be like, okay, maybe this could have been prevented with like metal detectors or whatever. It seemed like it just was just a crazy, scary incident.
Yes. Well, like, so all the reports are still coming in, right? But
Yeah.
just to share, for those of you who don't know, there's like a bunch of different reports. Some of the things being said are as follows. Some people are saying that from the beginning, they should have known it was going to be an issue and problematic because the concert was overbooked by approximately 10 to 12,000 people.
Oh my God.
And before the concert even started, people bum rushed the entrance, and for sure, over 1,000 tickets weren't scanned, over 1,000 bags weren't checked. There was a police report that said that someone reported seeing someone someone going through the crowd like pricking people. So like
yeah, like
there's
injecting people.
yeah. So there's, and you know, to a lethal dose of fentanyl is very small.
Yep.
So in the event someone was poking people with fentanyl, that could cause a bunch of deaths. Also, that sounds like a terrorist attack to me, but like, I don't know. What other reports did I hear?
Well, I heard
That he
some
was
people
performing
literally.
while
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
the last thing, that he continued to perform while he was told there is a dead person in the audience. There's a video of him seemingly looking down at the body and continuing to perform and yelling, "It's lit." So yeah, it's not looking good for Travis.
It's not looking good either. I heard as well that like because it was just so overcrowded and people were like, you know, these kids, they moshing and carrying on, that people were like suffocating in the crowd. And like, that was a lot of part of like people like passing out. So that literally sounds like my worst nightmare. I like don't go to concerts and crowds for that exact reason. So I just cannot imagine. Like, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I also heard the whole concert is like GA. So like you can't really escape the moshness. I don't know. It's just really sad. And I feel bad for all those young people who, you know, seemingly just went out to see a concert and, you know, lost their lives right before the holidays. Like it's really sad. So I hope that all gets situated. I hope whoever, if there is someone to blame for this, like if someone was actually going around poking people with fentanyl, I hope that person fucking dies in jail. But yeah, it's so sad. Yeah. My red is, have you seen that Rikers Island, they're like bribing they're bribing the inmates And they're like, if you get vaccinated, we'll give you a Big Mac.
Are you kidding?
No. Yeah, so that's a thing. And then this is a little old, but like we didn't talk about it. And so I'm still going to say, I'm also leaving Elon Musk on red, who said that he would sell $6 billion worth of Tesla stock. This could help fight world hunger. But before he did it, he would need the UN to basically share their entire plan of how they would do it, how they're going to like end world hunger before he gives them some money order.
Here's my thing on that though. A little arrogant. It comes up very like, what the fuck? Like, obviously your money would help end world hunger, but I'm not mad at him asking for a plan because these organizations are corrupt as fuck. And I do want to, if I were him, yeah, I'd be like, I want to see what you're going to do. Like, I think there's one thing to be like, oh, will my money actually cure like world hunger? Like, yes, obviously. But it's another thing to see it like actually executed in practice. And I think that like, it is important that like, that is public knowledge and public information. So no money is going to like shady places.
Yeah.
And I also too, I'm just curious, like, how would they do it?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's totally warranted to be like, okay, it's my money. Like, can I be involved? Can I, have transparency into how the funds are being allocated? But in the meantime, while he's waiting for them to, I don't know, give him a debrief, millions of children are dying every day because they can't eat.
Correct.
So I don't know if we have time to appease Elon Musk. And if he has the money, like fucking give the people the money who will do something good with it, in my opinion. And then I am replying to the Real Housewives of Potomac. Honestly, I had higher hopes for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. I actually thought it was okay. And last night, part 1 of Potomac was incredible.
I'm behind. And like, as soon as we get off this, damn, I got one more work call, but then I am going to Potomac and Insecure and a bitch is hype. I got a little sandwich. I got some chips.
Both great. Both great. I actually wrote Insecure and Potomac, both amazing. Just one thing I'll tell you, and it was in the commercial, so it's not a spoiler for Potomac. Candace basically like has a whole breakdown because her family is fucked up now because of the situation with her mom going around talking shit about her husband. And we know it's been going on for like several seasons, but like now it's like, it was very overt during that video, music video thing. And now his family isn't fucking with the mom. So it's a lot. And I actually kind of felt bad for Candace for once.
I mean, that was a thing that I feel like, and if you're a patron, we be talking about this show so much. But one thing I kind of was like, not that it was okay how Candace came for the thing she said about Mia's mother, but I felt like for Candace, it was like similar, like low blow for her to be like, oh, it's low budget and talking to her mom, because that is like a big point of contention between her husband and her mom and her, this whole, like, he don't have no money, which like, obviously you wouldn't know if you weren't like aware of her situation. So I understand why that was like a soft point for her and why she kind of like spazzed and lost it. And so I did feel a bit bad for her because like her mom added fuel to the fire. Like, it was inappropriate for Mia to go and ask her mom that question, but it was also inappropriate for her mom to be entertaining that shit. Like, it's so ridiculous.
They played it back and it really looked real bad. I was like, what kind of mom would do, like, you're making your daughter's life more difficult. Like, I don't.
And it's like, we get
that.
it. You don't like Chris or whatever, but like, they're married. So.
And talk to Candace about it. Bitch at her about it. You don't go to her friends so that, or not even friends, her castmates, so that now they have fuel against her and her marriage and her family. Like, it's just
a bad look. Yeah. And to add insult to injury, it's like, this is going to be the father of your grandchildren. Like, you don't want to, I don't know, her what's her name? Dorothy.
Yeah, I think Dorothy, and she's a damn psychiatrist.
I know.
She should be inspired. What's the word? I was gonna say disparage.
Take away all the credentials.
Because you must know what you're doing, right?
There's definitely a lot of manipulation over Candace, and I think she knows that. Like, yeah.
Gross. I feel bad for Candace.
I'm hyped to watch.
It's so good. You have to text me. I was live tweeting on Black Girls Text One. So,
were you? I'll have to go check that out. I don't know how Twitter really works, so I'll have to figure that out.
I was using hashtags. But yeah, I'm so excited for you guys to hear this episode with our Black girl doing shit.
Don't try to jump over my hotline bling.
Oh, whoops. What's your hotline bling?
So this is also to you. As the holidays are approaching, I've been talking to a lot of people about like gift giving and shopping. And what I do for work is very shopping oriented. And so my cousins and I, and just some like family and friends, have been talking about in the hotline bling that we're really going to try to buy Black.
Oh, I love
for
that.
the holidays.
I love
so
that.
I did want to share that with everyone. Like, as you're thinking about building out your holiday gift giving, buy Black as much as you can. We have some dope people. I don't want to reveal too much because we have like an ad that will be running soon from a really dope Black owned business and more to come. Maybe I'll put together like a gift guide. But yeah, my hotline is blinging because we are making a strategy to buy Blickety Black this holiday, and I want to encourage everyone to do the same. Now, Chelsea, you may proceed.
I love that. I mean, I'm going to proceed, but while I think that is great, I also wanted to share for those of you who you should buy Black.
Oh, but remember, what's she gonna say?
Remember I sent you guys this Chanel thing?
Uh-huh.
So this is another on red real fast. Chanel raised their prices of their bags. And I actually just checked on the site, and my bag that I got is now $400 more than when my partner bought it for me.
I'm surprised it's not even more. They don't want us buying that shit.
Why are they? It's so weird.
Because it keeps the less attainable the bag is, the more
brand cachet.
Yeah, luxury they can be.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm definitely getting myself a Chanel for my 30th, but I think I'm gonna get something like vintage. Like I want something like an old school. I don't know. I've been looking into it. Farfetch has a lot of like vintage Chanels. But we're buying Black. We're buying Black.
Yes, we're buying Black. I mean, I just got my Black from Avenue. The ghetto until proven fashionable. So yes, definitely buying Black. Okay, listen to the episode. I'm so excited. It's time for the group chat.
You all know we love a good Black girl doing shit. And we are joined today by Tia Mowry. She is a powerhouse in the wellness space. You might all know her from a lot of other things, but as a Black girl doing shit, she's multifaceted. She is the co-founder of Anser, a line of vitamins and supplements. In January 2020, after struggling with health and fertility issues related to endometriosis. So her journey on changing her diet, fitness, and self-care practice inspired her to start Anser, and she didn't really see women of color being represented in the wellness and health industry and decided to say something about it. The line is now available in Target and has successfully expanded and is inspired by her goal of encouraging everyone to take charge of their health. Welcome to Black Girls Texting. This is our segment that we love to just highlight amazing Black women that are just killing it. So that's how you get introduced to the show. I feel like it's quite nice.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. You are very kind, and I appreciate your kind words. So thank you.
Of course. And I was joking with Sade. I don't know if you can see, but I have a mole drawn on my
Oh my gosh, yes, like right here.
Yeah. I'm your sister for the day.
Yes, okay. There's a funny story about the mole. So it was one way, of course, how people would tell us apart. And I actually stopped telling people this because we would tell people that I have 3 moles. So I have a mole here, a mole here, and a mole here. So many people, when we were in high school, junior high, they're like, how do we tell you guys apart? And then we'll say, Tamara has, the mole right here. And then Tia, she has 3 moles, like 1, 2, 3, TIA. So what would happen is everybody, when they would see me, they would walk right up to my face like this. Are you Tia? So I was like, okay, I'm not going to tell people.
That's a bit invasive.
I'm not gonna, exactly. I was like, I'm not going to tell people that anymore. But that's another inside story of how we would tell people how you tell us apart. So it's funny that you say that about the mole, but that's so cool.
Yes, it honestly, it's just a pimple that I'm covering up. But I thought,
no way. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But first of all, I was reading your bio and I didn't even know what endometriosis is. And so I feel like many of our listeners might not know. Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah. So like you, when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I didn't even know what it was as well. It's just something that is not necessarily, or it wasn't something that was necessarily talked about. So, now I feel like more women are coming forward and sharing their stories. But so basically endometriosis is a highly inflammatory condition that can cause infertility. And it's when scar tissue tends to grow along the outside of the uterus, which causes a lot of pain. The symptoms are extremely unbearable and uncomfortable. And your menstrual, it's very intense. And what I mean by that is, of course, there's a lot of cramping, but there's a lot of clotting. There's, a lot of flow. Intimacy can be extremely painful. So it's definitely something that, is challenging, especially when you don't necessarily know what's wrong or what it is that you have. So that's what endometriosis is. And unfortunately, a lot of African-American women, there's a high percentage of us that have it. And also that tends to be, underdiagnosed. So with that said, once I found out what I had, I wanted to share my story. I wanted to bring awareness so that other women wouldn't suffer in silence like I did for years.
Yeah. And like, it's so interesting that you said that because I just did like a blood test. We're in our like mid to late 20s.
Okay.
So we're not moms yet, but we do think about becoming a mom. So I did like some blood tests where they can tell you how many eggs you have. It was very random how I found out about this, but like it's so many things about women's health. It's almost like invisible. So how did you even know that you had this? Like, was it just research, like lots of Googling?
So I didn't know that I had endometriosis for years, meaning I was extremely symptomatic. I was going through so much discomfort where I wanted to call an ambulance. I was in college at the time and I would excuse myself from the classroom because I was just in so much pain. Yeah. Oh yeah. There were times when, I remember this one class in particular, I was in and I had to excuse myself and I would go to the bathroom. And basically what I would do is I would sit on the toilet. And I later asked my doctor after she diagnosed me, why was that some sort of relief for me? And she said, because it relaxes the muscles around the uterus. And so I found through time, through trial and error, that that's what would make me feel a little comfortable. But I remember that same day when I was going home from class, my sister had to drive because I was in so much pain. I was curled up in a ball in the back seat. So how I knew that I had it, number one, was of course, because I knew something was wrong because of the symptoms. Like I would go to the doctor and they would not take my symptoms very seriously. They would say, oh, just run it off, take a hot bath, put a heating pad on. I would have burn marks from the heating pad because I would keep it on all night to try to help me with, my symptoms. But how I was diagnosed, or how I knew that I had it, was, I had gone to several doctors, and I finally, one of my friends, when I was, having terrible symptoms, I was actually on the toilet, just kind of, curled over, and she was like, what's wrong? And then I finally opened up to her, and she was like, I have the perfect doctor for you to go to. She's this Black woman. She's a Harvard graduate, and she is a gynecologist. And I really think you need to go, because I wasn't going to a specialist. And I think that's something that is really important, is whatever issue that you're having, really try to go to a specialist. So I was just going to regular practitioners, like doctors, who didn't specialize in that area. So I was not properly being diagnosed. So I was sent to a gynecologist, a Black woman. As soon as I sat down and told her my symptoms, she already knew what I had. She was like, you have endometriosis. I was like, what? She was like, you're in your mid-20s, and that's when a lot of the symptoms start to happen. She said, you're Black. And so you fit the prototype for, someone with endometriosis. But in order for me to properly diagnose you, you have to have surgery. So I never had been under any anesthesia. I had never had any surgery. I'm in like my mid-20s, like but I was desperate. So yeah, it's very scary. So I ended up having surgery, and then that's when they were able to go in with the scope, take pictures, and then you could see the scar tissue along your the lining of your uterus, and that's when she diagnosed me. So that's when I knew I had what I had.
Well, I'm so glad that, because I know you said it affects fertility, but you were able to have 2 beautiful children.
Yes.
How does that work? Is it just like if you catch it early, like you're okay?
So how I believe, and how my doctor believes, is prior to the first surgery, she had, like I said, you have to be how you're properly diagnosed is through surgery. But what she did do was, give me like pain pills. Those didn't work. So then she was like, okay, let's just go in and just really see, exactly what this is. I know what it is, but anyway, so I actually had to have a second surgery because it was just getting bad. And after my second surgery, my doctor was like, look, if you don't want to have a third surgery, and if you want to have kids one day, again, I was in my 20s, Corey and I, we were talking about marriage and having kids. And she said, you're going to have to change your lifestyle. I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm used to doctors, kind of doing things for you. But this was one doctor that put the responsibility in my hands and said, you are in charge. And she said, you have to change your lifestyle. And she started to tell me, it could be the foods that you're eating, nutrition. So she pointed me in the right direction, where I started to do tons of research, meaning I was reading books. I met with the authors of these books. One book is called The Body Ecology Diet, and Donna Gates is the author of this book. I fell in love with it. She was talking about how food can either exacerbate or suppress autoimmune issues, and that's basically what endometriosis is. It's an autoimmune issue, and many of us suffer from autoimmune diseases that we don't really know the name of them, what they are. Eczema, migraines, and all of that was also what I was suffering with as well. And I read these books. I sat down with these authors, and I started to change my lifestyle. I started to make healthier choices when it came to foods. I mean, I was in my 20s. I was in college. I was eating Cheetos, every day.
Right.
You're not worried about, you're young. You think about, fruits and vegetables when you're older, or, also for me, whenever fruits and vegetables were a part of a conversation is if somebody had been diagnosed with cancer and they were like, okay, you need to change your diet, and so I was focusing on, of course, trying to reduce the inflammation in my body, because endometriosis is a highly inflammatory condition, but also prevention. You know what I mean? Like, just because you're young, it doesn't mean that you should just not think about your future and your health when it comes to, your health and your wellness. So I started to learn about food and what food does to your body when you eat certain foods. I started to learn about gut flora. I don't know if you guys know about gut flora.
Is that what you have to take like probiotics for?
Probiotics, prebiotics, probiotics,
Mm-hmm.
certain foods, because your gut is your immunity. Your gut is your immunity. And not only is it your immunity, it's your brain. So a lot of the foods that you eat can make you anxious, depressed, all of that. But I learned all of this through my own research. And then stress, and how stress can trigger, certain elements within our body. And then I started taking supplements, and I saw a huge shift in my health and in my wellness. My eczema was suppressed, my endometriosis, my migraines went away, and I got pregnant. And when I got pregnant, the first person I called, of course, was my mother, but the second person that I called was my doctor, my gynecologist. And I said, guess what? I'm pregnant. And you want to know what her exact words were? It was because of that diet. It was because of your change with your lifestyle. So when she gave me the A-OK with what I was thinking, I said, I can't keep this information to myself. I have got to share my story. And so I wrote a book called Whole New You, which talks about my journey with food and all of that. And then I came out with my supplements, Anser. And the tagline is, you are the answer. Because again, I felt like once my doctor put me in that direction and gave me the responsibility, like nobody can really help you but yourself. I felt the shift and the change that only benefited me.
I love that.
That's incredible.
So Anser is a line of vitamins and supplements, as we mentioned already. But like, how do you get started? Because I go into like Vitamin Shop or Target, and I'm like, okay, do I start
overwhelmed?
Yeah, vitamin D, the calcium.
I know.
What's first? Do you have any advice on how to like get your feet wet in the supplement?
Yes, I do. And the advice that I always like to start with is perspective, right? Because it starts in the mind first. Once you have a healthy perspective and whatever's in your mind, then behavior and actions follow suit. So I always like to tell people the first thing that you should be aware of or even meditate on is, why are you doing this, right? The benefits of supplements, it goes a long way. We live in our lifestyles are crazy, right? We're moving so fast. We're doing so many things. Some of us don't even eat the foods that we need to eat to allow our bodies to do what it's supposed to do. Our bodies are healing machines if we give it the nutrients that it needs to do what it needs to do, right? So if we're moving really, really fast and we're forgetting to eat our veggies and our fruits and all of that, then we're not allowing ourselves to heal properly. So with supplements, you are supplementing your body with the things that you need so that you can reach your potential when it comes to your wellness and your health. So I would say first start with a great multivitamin, right? And a multivitamin will give you the nutrients that you need, for energy, for even immunity, just to feel great, right? So I would say start there. Then, I am really into hair, skin, and, nails. So I would go to a supplement that we have a great beauty supplement that is great for your hair, skin, and your nails. Then I would go there. And then what I tend to do too is seasonal, right? Or during the seasons, you're going to need more of certain things because of flu season, viruses, and all of that stuff. So then focus on immunity boosting supplements like elderberry, vitamin C, vitamin D. So I tend to really focus on those things during flu season. So September, October, November, December, January, February. I want to make sure that I load up on supplements that help with immunity. But in regards to every day, I'm all about the women's multi, and then also something that helps aid with sleep. Because we're just like always on the go. Sometimes it's hard for you to, well, for me especially, to shut my mind down. But sleep is also really important when it comes to your wellness and your health. And we have an amazing supplement called Restful Sleep, which, has natural ingredients to, help you wind down. So I hope that wasn't overwhelming for you,
No,
but
you're inspiring me. I'm like on the side on Target.com looking.
I had a feeling. I was like, it looks like Chelsea's looking these things up as we go. She's making her little list.
Well, because I went
That's
to
so awesome.
Sade, I went to a nutritionist and he was like, your diet is SAD, SAD, stereotypical American diet.
Yes.
I eat Chipotle probably every other day, pizza, because I don't live at home anymore. So my mom's not. But
no, I get it.
My meal.
How is that your excuse, ma'am?
And like we eat out practically for every meal, which is
but
probably
that's
terrible.
a lot of us, you know what I mean? But like I said, if you don't understand the benefits or have that perspective, like what I was telling you about earlier, then that'll put you into gear and say, okay, like my diet isn't the best and I'm not allowing my body to do what it's supposed to do. So let me just help it in some kind of way. And that's what's so great about supplements.
Yeah. It's also interesting because I feel like a lot of what you are like hinting at is this disconnect that we've gotten from our bodies because we're so busy, but like you really have to listen to your body. Like I am 100,000% lactose intolerant and probably other things.
Yes.
I know that when I eat certain things, I'm like, wow, I actually feel
crappy,
awful. I feel awful. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, this is not what I need to be doing. And then when I'm eating, well, I'm taking my supplements, I'm like active, as annoying as it is, I'm like, wow, I feel good. Like I don't feel like I'm dying.
Yes, that is what you just said, in my opinion, is I'm telling you, when you love yourself, when you realize, again, we're talking about perspective here, when you realize that you deserve to feel amazing and to feel great, when you have this awakening and when you become aware of how you feel when you eat certain foods, I am telling you, it's like you reach this euphoria or this bliss that is just like, oh my gosh, it's that simple. Like, oh, for real. Like when I don't eat that, I feel this way, or when I do eat that, I feel this way. Like that's what I'm saying. There is a connection when it comes to food and health. Food is medicine. And me personally, and I feel like it was important for me to write this book, Whole New You, especially within the African-American community. Yes. We don't have resources or educational tools or representation that includes us within these conversations so that we are aware and that we do know, this is what happens. So, it's all about, that's the other thing with Anser that's important to me. It's all about creating community. It's all about creating awareness. And once you have awareness, then, hopefully there's action that follows that. Which is what this is all about. It's all about helping and inspiring people to reach their potential when it comes to feeling good and feeling great about themselves.
We have a lot of things we want to cover with you, but one other thing I did want to highlight that you said is around the stress. So I was talking to my older sister, and her dad might be in his 60s, maybe late 50s, and had a lot of like heart complications and problems. So she was like, you know what, let me just make sure that I'm okay. Cause she's in her 40s, and she was like, okay, wait, let me do the math. He's got to be in his 60s. Okay. Anywho. She's gonna be like, what are you doing out here on public podcast messing this up? But she went to a nutritionist, like a family friend, and she really had her focus on stress with her heart, because she was like, listen, you can do all the tests in the world, but like, if you are not getting your sleep and controlling like stress, anxiety, like that is such a thing that affects Black people, especially, and
women,
the specialist she spoke to, and women. And she was saying, because we hold so much in, and it literally can start to make your body deteriorate. I know.
I know. It's no. It's so true, because again, this is just about awareness, and this is just about conversation, you know what I mean? And again, like with my doctor, I didn't realize how much stress affects your body. You know, they say that really stress is like the number one killer. It really is. So when you exercise, when you meditate, and those were the other things that I was also doing on my journey, you are actually calming your brain waves down. And not only are you doing that when it comes to meditation, when you calm your brain waves down and you meditate, you're breathing, you're getting rid of, you know, the stressors, it's also helping your immunity. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, right? Allowing your body to reset, allowing your body to rest. And that's why sleep is important as well, to reset, rejuvenate, love on yourself. You know, it's so important to understand what stress can do to your body. And the older you get too, the more you realize, like, I don't have time for that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have time. Ain't nobody got time for that. You know, when you're young, you're always trying to please, or you're always trying to be a part of. But as you get older, you're like, no, I know what stress does to my body, and I don't have time for that. But that is a fact. What you were saying, especially on the heart. And I feel like women, you know, one of the leading causes of death for us is heart disease, heart attacks, and all that. And I feel like as women, we are nurturers at heart, and we're always putting others first before taking care of ourselves. And that's why, again, with Anser, it was important for me to use that hashtag. We have a hashtag, self-care isn't selfish. In a society, you know, women are, of course, supposed to do everything. You know, yes, we're nurturers, we're mothers, we're wives, we're best friends. But I even saw it with my own mother. You know, it was like she would do everything for everybody and work so hard. At the end of the day, she was depleted. And it's like, how is that a good thing? You know what I mean? Like, she should be able to feed into herself, fill up her cup, reach her potential when it comes to feeling amazing, great, and healthy, so that she can be the best mom, so that she can be the best friend. So I feel like society has it. I want to change that narrative and say, yes, I'm a nurturer. Yes, I want to help, but not at the cost of killing myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's real. And, you know, as I said, we're not even moms yet. I can't imagine being a mom. I'm already always on the go, forgetting to eat, forgetting to drink water. Now I'm going to get some supplements. So hopefully that'll off balance my terrible diet.
I mean, once you have to fall in love with yourself. And once you fall in love with you and fall in love with yourself, then you're going to be like, wow, I have the energy to do this. I have the energy to do that. And I'm happy doing it. And I feel good doing it instead of just doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I would need to ask some questions about your characters because I'm obsessed with literally all of them.
Thank you.
So we obviously know you from Sister Sister. Actually, I have to tell you this. The other day it was Halloween and my friends and I like watched Saw. And then I got back to my apartment and I was like, stupid, why did you watch that? Now you can't sleep. And so I put on Sister Sister and it instantly changed my mood. I was like, now I feel safe. No one's going to come and I'm laughing. This is better.
That's awesome.
We know you from Sister Sister, the game. My nieces are obsessed with your show Family Reunion, which is on Netflix. So I was wondering, which of your characters are you most like? Is it Tia Landry, Melanie, Med School, or Coco?
That is a really good question. So I'm actually a lot like all of my characters. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I choose them, or I feel like they choose me, because I'm very much like my characters. So Sister Sister, Tia Landry, you know, she definitely, well, I'll say this, she's the one that I was least like. Tia Landry, she was the studious one, which I would say I'm definitely more studious than my sister, but she was smarter. Like I was the one that was like, it took me a longer time to memorize and to grasp a concept. So I became studious because of that. You know what I mean? Like I'm in my books, and for my sister, she would just get it like that. So she would just like open up a book and be like, all right, I'm done. I'm, off doing something else. But Tia Landry was also very like shy and very quiet. That's not me. Like, no, I'm like
I
very
much
felt like
it was switched.
Yes,
like you should have been Tamara and she should have been
exactly.
Tia.
Yes, exactly. So I would say that would be the least like me. Let's see. The next one was the game. So the game, that was Melanie was me. Like Melanie was so me. And I think that's why I totally enjoyed that character, because where Melanie was in life was where I was in life, meaning I was dating Corey at the time, who is my husband, and I was all about his career. You know what I mean? I was done with Sister Sister. I was, in college, and I was like, you know what, Corey, we gonna do this, let's study your lines. I was like rooting him on, just like how Melanie was rooting Derwin Davis on, to be a football player. And she was like by his side 24/7. That was me. And I loved playing Melanie Barnett. So that was very much like me. And then also Coco. So Coco, I would say, is the closest to who I am in real life, because she's a mom, she's non-traditional, and she grew up, or she's surrounded by traditional, Madeira, from the South, religious. And that was me. I grew up in the church. My mother, and my family, they're very, very religious. But I'm all about embracing all religions, and I'm non-traditional. And so it was very different when it came to, my parenting styles, and my mother's like, what are you doing? Like, so I'm very much like Coco. And she's definitely a lot of fun to play because of that, because I grew up in that world. You know what I mean? Where my grandmother, I remember I graduated from college, and I literally, my shirt was just off my shoulder like this. It was like a shirt, a shirt off the shoulder. And she was like, where you going? Put some clothes on. I'm like, what are you talking about? So
that show is it's so cute. I watch it when my nieces come over. They're coming this weekend, and I know they're gonna have me watching all their shows. But I love how it's like you are like so non-traditional, and it shows like, kind of, I don't want to say the growth of like Black parenting, but like how we're evolving, but still like the importance of those roots. And like your
Look.
mother-in-law in the show still like kind of keeps everyone together, like, and you need that. It's really, it's a great show.
It's thank you so much. It's like it's about finding that balance, you know, like my mother whooped my ass, okay, growing up.
Really? You seem like a well-behaved
oh no
child.
No, my mom, that was the thing. I never did anything wrong.
That's how she
My
kept
sister
you
and I,
guys good.
we would come home from school because we lost a barrette. You know, like we had barrettes. You know, when you put little barrettes at the end of your hair?
Yeah.
If we lost one, butt whooping.
Oh my gosh.
That was, you got a C on your report card, butt whooping. But my point is that you said, you know, especially within the Black community, like we're evolving. Like that's what you did. You got your butt whooped. And me raising my children, I don't spank them, you know? So, and my mother's like, what?
I literally, so I'm in a, you know, a committed relationship. And so we talk about parenting, and he's very anti-beating. And I'm like,
yes.
I'm not, I don't want to, but I do think there are instances where it could or may be warranted. And so I call my mom and I go, Mom, so what do you think about beating? And mind you, my mom has only beat me like twice.
Okay.
Because I was very afraid of her. Like she just had to look at me and it worked.
Oh, okay.
But she's like, spare the rod, spoil the child. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom.
That's, especially when you grow up in a religious household, that is the justification and the why you spank your children. But I did, you know, study psychology at Pepperdine University, and we studied growth and child development. And, you know, again, I could see why sometimes, you know, it's easier to go to sparing the rod than really sitting down, taking the time to talk to your child and talk it out and explain why. It takes more time, you know what I mean? And it takes more energy and it takes more effort. And when you have parents that work really hard, you know, working all day, and then you do something that you're not supposed to, it's easy for you to be like,
definitely. I'm like, damn, I would really be messing up whole meals forgetting to take out the chicken from the freezer.
Okay, but to be fair, just to our parents' credit, I feel like they also were like, at least my mom, she was tired, stressed out.
Yeah.
But so I do want to evolve when it's my turn, for sure.
Let me tell you, my mother, she would, you know, Post-its. My mother's gonna kill me, but I love my mom. She's, you know, she's great. Don't get me wrong. She's just very traditional.
Right. I mean, she did a great job.
She did. Like, I mean, all of her kids are great kids, you know?
Yes,
so
Post-its.
My mother, she would, because, you know, she worked a lot, right? And so we had done something wrong. She was like, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you when I come back. And then I remember one time Tamara and we would always get spankings together. Like it was never one or the other. It was like both of y'all, like even if Tamara did something wrong and I had nothing to do with it, because I didn't, you know, help, it's just like guilty by association.
Oh my goodness.
It's a nice way to bond.
Right? I guess it is a nice way to bond. So I remember one time we had come back home from school and we were like, oh, she must have forgot. She must have forgot. But we had walked into her room and she had on her computer a Post-it that said spanking Tia. She literally, it was on her to-do list. It was on her to-do list.
No.
I am so serious. That's why.
I'd
be shook. I'd be like, okay, this lady's not playing around.
Okay,
right?
I have a question, because your dad, is he white American?
My dad is white, and my dad, yes, he's white American. Our family, our roots are like, his side is from Ireland.
Okay.
But my dad never spanked us. And there was this one time where my mother was like, you gonna give him a spanking. And my dad, he pretended to spank us or spank me. So he was like, okay, scream, scream. And he hit the belt on the bed. We're like, oh!
That's amazing. That is amazing.
I'm telling you guys exclusive information here.
Tea is spilled in here. You've
That is
entered
so
the group
funny.
chat.
Oh my
This is
God,
how it
but
goes
it's
down.
real. It's real. This is, maybe that's why Tamir and I and the kids, we're all so straighten up and fly right.
Wait,
No,
that
but
is
thank God
so
for my dad.
funny. Okay,
Yeah.
I also have another question because you talked about when you and Corey were dating and you were like helping him with the lines. I have a question. In that period between dating and getting engaged, can you talk about that period? Was it like,
Oh, Lord.
did you
I wonder why she's
about-
asking you this.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, you know, okay. This is a really good question. So again, I feel like what Corey and I, what we learned about ourselves, and we didn't get there right away. But we learned about ourselves through conversation and talking and being very open and honest with one another. We have our own journey, meaning everybody has their own journey in life, right? Some people, they'll start dating and then they get married a year, 2 years later. That's their journey. And there were many of times where my parents, you know, and friends are like, when y'all gonna get married? Like, when y'all gonna get married? Because we were together for 8 years before we got married.
Wow.
Yes. And I'm so grateful that we didn't allow outside societal pressures to influence us to do something, because at the end of the day, you two are in your union. Don't let other people dictate what's best for you. You guys know what's best for you. Now, I'm not saying that I wasn't influenced, meaning when are we gonna get married, Corey? Like, you know, I got my mom on me, or I got my daddy on me, or I got on me. I'm not saying that never happened. Yes, it did. But where, like I was saying, we were able to work to a place where we were like, you know what, at the end of the day, we just need to do what's best for us. And so we talked about it, you know what I mean? What's best for Corey. Corey, he wanted to get married when he felt, you know, comfortable within himself. And same thing with me. We were able to communicate and get on the same page. But I think the advice, if that's what you're asking, I would say, definitely communicate what you need and what you want. And he should do the same, but then ask again, why? Where is this coming from? Is this coming from societal pressures? Is this coming from, you know, your parents or what your friends are saying, what needs to happen? Or is this what really you and your partner want? And I think that's what really helped Corey and I. And we took that into our marriage as well, meaning having children. Like, we waited a few years before we had Cree. And so many people are like, when you have a baby, when you have a baby, or even after Cree, when you have another baby, when you have another baby. It's just like, we're gonna do you, and do what you and your union, what's best for you and your union, not what's best for someone else.
I find that so like crazy about life. It's like you're going, then okay, it's like you're going to college, right? Or like whatever, like that path is supposed to be. Then you finish and it's like you're supposed to get this incredible job, and then it's like a few years, and then out of the blue, I'm supposed to meet someone and get married and have kids. I'm like, and if it's one thing after the other, it's so like, why do we do this to ourselves?
Exactly. It's true. And it's I think, you know, as I get older and as I go through life and just seeing how my children, how they're being raised, and I really, again, I think it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning about self-love, focusing on self, what's important to self, as opposed to being dictated in what you think others think about you, or what you think others think what is best for you, or what society thinks what's best for you. And we kind of fall into this trap of pleasing others and putting our attention on other people, as opposed to really looking deep inside. I had read something, seen something online where at the end of the day, no one else lives with you but you. You go home in your own body. You live in your body, your mind. Nobody else is in, it's you. So why not make you happy? Like, what is wrong with that? Like, what is wrong with you doing what's best for you? Now, look, you may put yourself in a situation that's effed up, but guess what? You've learned from it, and then you grow from it, as opposed to going through life living someone else's life for you.
Yeah. No, it's
no, that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Chelsea,
I always
do you
like
want
to get, I was just gonna say, I always like to, I have an older sister. She's 16 years older than me. And then I have like her friends. I just like learning from like people who have had a little bit more life experience than me, you know, like what can I learn? So I just wanted to ask that. What were you gonna say, Sade?
I was going to say, just looking at the time, I'm thinking we jump into our what would you do?
Okay.
And I don't know if you want to read it, I'll read it, however you want to do this.
You can read it, but I'm also just going to quickly say that I am super excited for your upcoming holiday movie, because I like feel-good movies. And it's called Miracle in Motor City, and it's going to be on Lifetime, November 28th. Can you just quickly tell us what it's about?
Yes.
Yes. So I play Amber Dupont, who is a social worker. And she basically bites off a little more than she can chew when she promises a legend to come to her church's fundraiser. And that legend happens to be Smokey Robinson. So they're trying to raise money for their church. I know. They're trying to raise money for their church because the roof is, falling apart, among some other things. And her mom ended up passing away. And her mom would, help assist with everything. So she ends up taking over, and so that's kind of like the gist of the story. Just her trying to find Smokey Robinson, chase him down. Does he show up? Does he not show up? But I think what's amazing about this movie, and very different from a lot of the other Christmas movies that I've done, is we have Motown. And for me, it's all about representation. It's all about culture. And to be able to add that special element into this movie was very special, which is just wonderful. And then also what I love about this movie is, at the end of the day, I feel like that's all we need is love. And Amber, Dupont, she is a social worker, and she's falling in love with this little girl. Her name is Lily in the movie. She's her foster child, but she's hesitant. She wants to adopt her, but she's hesitant because she doesn't feel like she has the traditional family unit, because it's just her. So what's great about this story is you learn at the end of the day, it's love. And that's the only thing that you need. Of course, there's a romance story within the movie, which is also awesome. But I think those two elements are what, meaning the Motown, just feel and vibe of the movie Smokey Robinson, and then the relationship between her and her foster daughter, it just makes this movie very special.
I love that. You said Smokey Robinson, so now my mother also has to watch. She sees.
I know. Mouths dropped when you said that. We were like,
oh yes, and he does. You guys, he does an exceptional. An exceptional, phenomenal job. Like Smokey is a legend.
Yes, absolutely
epic.
So we'll jump into our what would you do, and we don't normally do this with guests, but I think this one will be great for you because I feel like you'll have good advice.
Oh God, I'm scared.
Listen, you might need to make a new supplement after this. That's all I'll say. Okay. So Okie dokie. Dear BGT, my sex drive is not what it used to be. I think because I recently started birth control. I also got promoted at my job and am one of the youngest directors at my company at only 29. Anyhow, my fiance and I aren't having sex like we once did. We can go weeks without sex, and although it doesn't necessarily bother me, I know it bothers him. I don't want him going elsewhere for what I'm not giving him, but honestly, I'm so tired and sometimes just don't feel like it. I tried taking the horny goat supplement from the gas station, but it made me sick and had my heart racing. Any advice? Well,
Girl, my first, I'm a foodie. First of all, down some oysters, okay? I'm just kidding.
not the supplement from the gas station.
Oh my gosh, that, ooh, that is a very, very tough question. This would be my advice. Number one, I think, so she's saying that her sex drive is low, correct? She's feeling just overwhelmed with work and all of that.
And birth control, she said.
Yeah, and she said she just started birth control.
Yes. First of all, communication is so incredibly important. Mm-hmm. I really, 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 really think that you need to be open about how you're feeling and open about your challenges with your partner, and really approach the situation with love and an open heart, because you want to be an example for him, right? So the way that you're approaching the situation, hopefully he can feel the temperature in the room and be open and approachable and embracing when it comes to you, right? So I think communication is the most important thing, because she had mentioned, like, I don't want my partner, to go elsewhere, or I think the more you communicate about it, the better. And, hopefully both of you will get on the same page when it comes to empathy and sympathy, right? So she's feeling empathetic and sympathetic towards him, and then he's feeling empathetic and sympathetic towards her. So then both of you guys are like on the same page when it comes to how you're feeling. So when that perspective and communication is healthy, then you can move towards working on a solution, right? That solution could be finding a supplement, or, it's so funny. We actually had, because we're working on finding our new supplement and what that supplement is. And a part of the conversation was trying to find something, to help with sex drive and stuff like that. So it's it's very interesting. I know. So, and how we figure things out is we have an email chain, of a community, and we'll ask, questions and stuff like that. So it's interesting that you said that. But anyway, talk together, about how important this is to him and how this is important to you. Like, if you want to please your man, and it sounds like you do, then, come to to an agreement with one another, and maybe, start with a supplement and find something to help improve, your sex drive. And, or maybe, your partner, he's sympathetic or empathetic towards you. But I think, the key here is getting on one accord, mm-hmm. and understanding one another and being empathetic and sympathetic towards each other's challenges and feelings, and then come to some sort of agreement. But I think by you even asking the question and bringing awareness to the situation, I think that's the first start. You know what I mean? Which is important. You're bringing awareness to how you're feeling, and don't be afraid to share that with your partner. And again, approach it in a loving, supportive way, so then that he could do the same for you. So hopefully, and then, like I said, down some oysters and see how you feel after that.
Literally,
you guys had together. Go out to eat, honey. Have a glass of wine.
A dozen, maybe two. No, I had a similar conversation recently, and I'm actually on the other end of the spectrum, where I'm like, I want it all the time, and it was like a very genuine, like, well, this is my perspective and this is how I feel about it. And like,
I think it's because you're like, wow, we're really getting like very prescriptive talking about sex and like plans and sex drives and sex life. And people think like, oh, well, you just have sex and that's it. But like you literally have to communicate. And I am so bad at it. So girl, if I can do it, you can do it.
Oh my gosh. Can I just say, I'm so happy that we are having this conversation, because I was just sharing with one of my friends, I feel like it's important for women to talk about sex. And I feel like it's important for women to talk about what they need and what they want. Because again, back to our conversation earlier, society, it's almost like we're not allowed to, or we're not supposed to. It's like the only connection that sex is when it comes to us is having the baby or having babies. And it's like, no, that's actually not fair. We have wants, we have needs as well. And I feel like it's important for us to feel comfortable about talking about that and talking about our wants and our needs. And sex is beautiful. Sex is wonderful. And why isn't it something that women can be open about talking about? So that's why I was saying with the girl who's asking for advice, I'm glad that she's having this conversation and she's being aware of it and not holding it in, because societal pressures will make you think that, I'm not supposed to even be talking about this because I'm a woman.
Yeah. Okay. One question. Two questions, not two questions. One thing for the listener, you also mentioned birth control, and I have heard that birth control does like mess with your sex drive. So maybe try a different birth control. If you've noticed that. And then the other thing, do you all think it's weird? Because I heard that sometimes guys have more of a sex drive than women do. So something that women can do is like put little secret reminders in their phone of when to initiate sex. like maybe twice a week you initiate it.
Yeah. I mean, I was very open about my, situation where Corey and I, especially when I feel like when you have, like I said earlier, we all live busy lives, right? It's just as different where, we have 2 or 3 jobs. A lot of women, we're like go-getters, you know what I mean? We're aggressive with our careers, or just people in general. And when you have children and when you're married and you've been married for a long time, I truly believe that sex is important. I believe that intimacy it's important in a relationship, and do whatever it takes. Meaning if that's putting in a little reminder, putting a little note, having a conversation and saying, honey, let's put this in the calendar. I mean, I don't find that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's again, I think it's a part of communication, and communication, it's an important factor when it comes to any relationship, because it makes communication makes your other partner accountable. If you don't say anything, well, then how will they know?
Exactly. Right. They're not a mind reader.
They're not mind readers.
Yeah.
I wish people were. It'd make my life so much easier.
I know.
Well, thank you so much for the advice. Thanks, listener, for writing in. You can email us anything like that, any what would you do's at hello@blackgirlstexting.
Yes.
Oh yeah, is that right?
.com.
I think I'm still like in shock that we just kind of talked about sex with Tia Mowry. So
I think so too.
But I'm so glad that you joined the group chat. I'm really excited to hit buy in my cart of Anser supplements. And you're welcome to the group chat anytime. Thanks for joining.
Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. This was such an incredible conversation. So kudos to you guys for having real, uplifting, inspiring, profound, and beneficial conversations to help with the community. So thank you.
Well,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Fangirling still.
Black girl magic. Bye, guys.
I love it.
Awesome. Bye.